Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chen. I am the director of the PolyU Academy for Interdisciplinary Research and will be the moderator for this session. I'm sorry that we...
just for your information, I still cannot see...
a little bit late because of the technical issues, but I think we are fine. First, I would like just to thank everyone for attending this session. And today we have 5 speakers, and we'll control like everyone just be talking for about 15 minutes, and we'll have a discussion at the end of the session. So our first speaker will be Professor Albert Chan, who is the Dean of the Students at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and he also is the Associate Director of the Research Institute for Sustainable Urban Development. Professor Chan has done a lot of research in the construction project management and so on. So since we are late, so I'm not going to give the full introduction of his background, and I think I will just pass this podium to him. Professor Chan, please.
Thank you, Professor Chen. And do you hear me all right?
Yeah, yes, everything is good. We also see your PowerPoint. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Very good. The topic I'd like to share this afternoon is anti-heat stress uniforms for improving the well-being of outdoor workers. Well, our world is subject to climate change, and our world is getting warmer. And the global warming in particular have induced a lot of heat-related incidents, not only in Hong Kong, but in other parts of the world.
Technical people, can you actually hear me?
Canada, Japan, India, United States, and Australia. Now, we have done as a research team a series of research work related to heat stress. We've been working on identifying optimal work rest schedule in hot weather. We also look into anti-heat stress uniform, personal cooling equipment, early warning system of heat stress, and more recently, high-level PPE, personal protective equipment at work. Now, in particular, the construction industry, most workers will have to work outdoor, and they are at greater risk of heat stroke. Because of the global warming, there's very rapid urbanization with heat island effects.
Our technical team, can you hear me or not?
The subtropical climate in Hong Kong and the higher frequency and duration of extremely high temperatures provide a lot of threats to construction workers because they have to work for prolonged work duration and strenuous physical activities. And very often we can see that, construction workers are not putting on appropriate clothes at work, and inappropriate dressing behavior is something that we have been taking note of. Now, against that background, the relevant and appropriate authority have put forward some site safety measures for working in hot weather. In particular, they also make some suggestion on suitable clothing. Now look at this information provided by the Construction Industry Council. And in terms of suitable clothing, the parties who employ the construction workers should provide them uniform, anti-heat stress uniform designed by CIC in collaboration with the PolyU or similar work clothes. And in the specification, they did highlight that the clothing should be light color, thin, and to have good overall moisture management capability, good vapor permeability, and UV protection. And it should also be loose fitting to enhance perspiration. Now, this was put down in the industry guideline as a result of the research work that the PolyU group researchers have been doing. Now, let me just share some of the research activities that we have gone through before coming forward with this final product. In particular, we divide into 3 stages. First is the design stage, second, evaluation, and third, dissemination. In terms of design, we have designed and engineered appropriate clothing for construction workers to meet the challenge of rising temperatures. And we spend a lot of time evaluating its effectiveness. And at the end, after going through all rigorous tests, we come up with the final product, and we convert it into an industry standard to help alleviate heat stress and to promote a wide use of anti-heat stress uniform. Now, this is a good model of collaboration amongst different parties. We come up with this in research ideas as a research team. And we managed to secure research grants from the Research Grant Council of Hong Kong SAR government. And we also managed to get support from the Construction Industry Council, which is a statutory body collaborating and connecting the government, the industry, and the academia. And we also involve construction companies, and with their support, we managed to convince many frontline workers to voluntarily participate in our experiment. Now, as far as the research team is concerned, we have to rely on a multidisciplinary research team comprising of clothing design team, testing design team, as well as coordination and implementation team, because the research spread across different knowledge base. So we have to implement good project management skills in order to ensure the final product is exactly what we want. So in designing the uniform, we have finally come up with a standard work uniform in Hong Kong. And between September 2016 and April 2021, a total of over 246,000 pieces of anti-heat stress shirts and close to 80,000 pairs of trousers have been ordered by over 100 construction companies and Hong Kong SAR government in Hong Kong. So it's now been used as a standard workwear for all construction workers in Hong Kong working on public works projects. And not only that, the uniform has been utilized in the construction industry. We have also licensed the technology to the Labor Affairs Bureau of Macau government, where they deployed this technology to their construction workers and other outdoor workers, including outdoor cleaning and other industries as well. And not only that, we have also exported the technology to Cambodia and Saudi Arabia. And locally in Hong Kong, we have also extended and applied the technology to other outdoor workers, such as outdoor cleaners. And the Bureau has adopted it as the standard workwear for the outdoor cleaners as well. So far, a total of 2,762 anti-heat stress uniforms have been distributed to construction, gardening, logistics, and drainage workers in Macau in June 2019. So this technology has not only been applied in Hong Kong, but also being imported and applied in other places around the world as well. And let me go more specifically about the design. The uniform is made up of a t-shirt, a polo t-shirt, as well as a pair of trousers. Now, in terms of the fabric, it's lighter, thinner, better thermal and moisture properties. It also adopted the dry inside for one-way liquid transferability, and it provides better UV protection. Now, in terms of design, we adopted mesh fabric for heat dissipation and evaporation. We also adopt mesh wash refractive strips to provide safety and breathability. And the T-shirt, the polo shirt, is loosely fitting to allow movement and comfort. And we also adopt different front and back design with the refractive strip to enable a clearer visualization and differentiation. Now, in terms of the trousers, we adopt and incorporate the nanotechnical moisture management fabric. In brief, when vapor occurs, the inner surface will be dried, whereas the outer surface will be wet. You can see from the fabric, from the diagram, the upper region is dry, and the lower one, the outer surface, is wetter. Whereas on the other hand, without the nanotechnology, both the inner surface and outer surface will be equally wet. So with this technology, when one sweats, the inner surface attaching to the flesh, to the body flesh, will be dried, and the outer surface of the fabric will be wet. So when the wind blows, it will bring out some and carry away the vapor. So in terms of functionality, we have done a series of tests in the laboratory. We managed to find out that the core temperature is much smaller than wearing the standard trade uniform, and the skin temperature at both rest, exercise, and recovery stage are also lower. The rate of heat storage is much smaller than those with the trade uniform. And we also conducted some subjective assessment, and the workers prefer to adopt and to put on the PolyU uniform much better than the standard one and the traditional one. So as a result, the newly designed uniform has been used as an industry standard to help alleviate heat stress. And in terms of publicity and dissemination, we have done a bit of promotion work, and it has attracted a lot of attention through exhibition, TV, interview, and other newspaper dissemination as well. And not only that, we also managed to secure government support, and we licensed the technology to the Construction Industry Council in April 2015. And during the launch of this uniform, the Secretary for Development and the Chairman of CIC, as well as the Permanent Secretary of the Development Bureau, put on the uniform to launch this uniform during the Safety Week in May 2015. And more than 200,000 pieces of the uniform have been ordered by the companies as well as by the government. And the four-party working group committee agreed to specify the anti-heat stress uniform as the standard uniform for all government projects in 2016. So the uniform was further licensed to the Labor Affairs Bureau in Macau and also to Cambodia government, so that the workers in Cambodia can also benefit from this invention. And the administration of King Saudi Arabia University also purchased the uniform for trial by the workers. And we also submitted it as one of the high impact story to the Research Grant Council, and it was accepted as a 4-star impact story. And it was also featured in the web page of the RGC. And we managed to secure good impact score from the Research Assessment Exercise 2020. And not only that, we received a number of research awards from the university, industry, organization, and the government. So this is a very pleasing exercise to the researchers and also having real impact to the industry and making and realizing benefits to the community at large. So this is a vivid example which brings real and impactful benefits to construction workers and the industry at large. So with that, I would end my presentation, and I also acknowledge the input from my entire research team, which comprise of textile experts, medical science experts, as well as construction safety personnel. Thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Professor Chang, for your outstanding presentation. It's really a very timely topic about the sustainable construction. So, as I said, we'll move all the questions to the end of this session. So the next one, I'm going to introduce Professor Xiaolin Zhao. Professor Xiaolin Zhao is the chair professor at the civil instructor at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. He's also a fellow of the Australian Academy of Engineering and Technology. And he's been spent quite a lot of times in Australia before moving to Hong Kong early this year. And in his career, he has published 9 books and 400 journal papers. It's a very outstanding achievement. So now I'd like to pass the podium to Professor Zhao.
Thank you very much, Professor Chen, for your kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here to present to you about collaborative research and UN SDGs. This is one of the pair session at the International USR Summit. So, I'm giving my slides. Okay, it's moving. All right, so there are my presentation. I will start with very quick review on the current status of UN SDGs number 2, 7, 11, and also highlight the importance of the collaborative research to address global challenges. Finally, we use one example, which is sustainable and smart floating structure solution to demonstrate the concept. Now, we're all familiar with UN SDG, 17 of them. I will focus on number 2, zero hunger, number 7, affordable and clean energy, number 11, sustainable city and communities. So let's look at the progress. Well, every year, UN will present an annual SDG progress report based on international gathered data from all the countries. And every 4 years, it will also present a global sustainable development report. So let's have a look what happened to number 2, zero hunger and food security. Well, the picture is not very great because the hunger is on the rise. Again, globally, about 1 in 10 people worldwide are suffering from hunger. Nearly 1 in 3 people lack access to adequate food. Public investment is declining. On the demand side, you can see we must produce 56 more food to feed a global population of 9.8 billion by 2050. If you look at Africa, the population will double by 2050. That means more than 1.1 billion people will need food. If you look at number 7, ensure the access to affordable and sustainable modern energy. And we have done quite a bit, actually, in this regard. The progress is not bad, but we still have 700 million people globally living without electricity, and 2.4 billion are cooking with harmful and polluting fuels. And the progress is there, but it's not fast enough, you can see, to achieve the SDG number 7. A much higher level of ambition is required. Now, number 11 relates to the sustainable city. you can see that we still have 1 billion people living in slums. And compared with about 80 years ago, it's 880 million. So the number is increasing. Many people still breathing poor quality of air and have limited access to transport and open public access. So if you look at urban populations, it's increasing, will be reach 5 billion by 2030. So our cities are getting very crowded with poor livability. Because of climate change, about 90% of megacities are vulnerable to rising sea levels. And some islands in the Pacific Ocean may disappear in the coming decades. In parallel to the UN SDGs, there are other documents describing about the global challenges. For example, the Grand Challenge for Engineering, published by the National Academy of Engineering in the US, and also the Grand Challenge in Environmental Sciences, published by jointly by National Research Council, National Academy of Engineering, Science, and Medicine, and all of them pointing to the need of collaborative research. So there is a good alignment of the grand challenges identified in these documents and that identified in the UN SDG. Now, speaking of collaborative research, there's a couple of terms sometimes be confusing. For example, we have multidisciplinary research, interdisciplinary research, transdisciplinary research. So if you look at the picture on the top left-hand corner, and we have several different disciplines working by themselves as silos. And then when you're talking about multidisciplinary research, we have several disciplines working together, but still by themselves. So under one thematic umbrella. Now we look at interdisciplinary research. Now we're looking at the cross-boundary things happening. So you have cross-disciplinary boundaries, and one discipline collaborates with another one, and you have integrated knowledge developed through this process. And the last one is transdisciplinary, which is the development on top of the interdisciplinary, and it not only cross the disciplinary boundaries, it also cross the sectoral boundaries. So you will have integrated knowledge of science and society, for example. At PolyU, we have this PolyU Academy for Interdisciplinary Research Pair, which is chaired by Professor Chen today, and that is specifically set up to encourage the multidisciplinary research to address global challenges. Now, I will use one example, which is sustainable and smart floating structure solution to illustrate the relevance to UN SDG number 2, 7, 11, and also to emphasize the importance of collaborative research to address global challenges. As you can see from the review of the progress of number 2, 7, 11 related to food security, renewable energy, and resilient and sustainable cities, we have done so much, but it's still not enough. We've done so much on the land, not enough. So it's time to look to the ocean. The ocean covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface. Only 5% of the world ocean has been explored, so 95% not touched. Now, Africa is surrounded by ocean with a coastline over 30,000 kilometers. Can we do something about that? And blue economy is a buzzword. According to the World Bank, the blue economy is defined as a sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihood and jobs while preserving the health of the ocean ecosystem. So we need to do something, look into the ocean. Some examples are shown here. And the first one is EcoArc, which was built in Singapore in 2019. That is the world's first integrated floating farm, which can produce 160 tons of fish a year. And it hosts the whole farming process from eggs to preparing the fish for sale. The second example is in Rotterdam, and is a floating farm raising dairy cows, about 40 cows in that floating farm, which can produce about 320,000 liters of raw milk. Another example in Zhuhai, and a floating farm, which is quite big, which is about 93 meters long, 28 meters wide, which can produce about 450 tons fish every year. A similar one was set up in Hong Kong through AFCD, Agriculture, Fishery and Conservation Department, and doing the same thing. There's another one which is not built yet. The Longyuan Zhenghua is trying to build an integrated facility combining the vertical wind turbine, the solar panel, and fish farm. The water depth in that area is about 36 meters. And you can see the base side length is about 70 meters. It's quite big. And then some other ideas floating around. For example, the Barcelona-based forward-thinking architecture has the idea of smart floating farm. Basically, has 3 layers. The bottom layer is the fish farm, and the middle one is hydroponic gardens, which have vegetables, and the top one is a solar panel. Another crazy example is called a vertical farm in New York. You can see it looks like wings of a dragonfly, which is about 600 meters tall, which has 26 different agricultural fields, which can grow vegetables, grains, and different things. Just it's an interesting idea, but it's not built yet. So at the PolyU, we're working on a sustainable and smart floating farms. This is a joint effort from 5 different research institutes. So the collaborative research, including Research Institute for Land and Space, and for Future Food, for the Photonics Research Institute, and Artificial Intelligence of Things, and also smart energy. So we're trying to address that. How do you build sustainable and smart floating farms in a large size, large scale, sustainable, smart automation, high automation, highly efficiency, and also can handle a very harsh ocean weather. The picture here shows the different types of challenges we're facing in terms of materials, structures, renewable energy, advanced sensor technology, structure health monitoring, smart agriculture, and optimization of floating farm using AI and the Internet of Things. Now, we look at SD number 7, renewable energy. The trend is definitely moving from land-based to offshore, from small size to large size. You can see from the pictures. And these large offshore wind turbines can float in different ways, as you can see from the pictures on the right. But the challenge here is how can we build very large scale with very high efficiency, and also we want to make sure the structure are stable on the strong storm and typhoon kind of strong weather, and also durable and last for a long time. And how do we store the energy? How do we transmit energy? All these are a big challenge. And the previous picture shows a very large floating turbines. But this picture is a different way of doing it, which consists of hundreds of small wind turbines with a very large structure like this floating on the ocean. Again, the same challenge, large scale efficiency, stability, durability. How do we transmit the energy and store the energy? We do need collaborative research to address this kind of challenge. Now, wave energy converter is another way to generate energy, of course, and this is one example shown here, and much more research is needed. Floating solar farms, if you read the newspapers, and you can see there's a lot of examples floating around already. Again, the challenge is very similar: large scale, efficiency, stability, durability, and energy storage transmission. So if you look at USD number 11, sustainable cities and communities, as I mentioned before, that the world's urban population is increasing rapidly, and our cities are getting very crowded, and there is a huge demand on housing, and the livability is quite poor, and a lot of people still live in slums. We need affordable housing. Because of climate change, 90% of megacities are vulnerable to rising sea level. Some may disappear. And on top of that, we may need emergency relief facilities under, when the pandemic or earthquake. And also there's a need to have more factories for reindustrialization, but we lack of land. So we need innovative solution to create land and also to enhance livability. We strongly believe that the floating solution could partially replace land reclamation with reduced environmental impact, construction time, and cost. And there's already some floating structures around, especially in the Netherlands and in Canada, and also some ideas floating around, like in San Francisco, there's some floating housing ideas in Singapore and in other parts of the world about large floating cities. The one in Futian in South Korea is expected to be completed by 2025, so not 3 years' time. So everyone's watching this one. It's going to happen or not? So that's a very interesting one to watch. And again, these examples are small size and in calm waters. If we really want to address number 11, sustainable city and community, we do need large scale deep water in the harsh environment. So there's a lot of challenges in front of us. We need collaborative research to address materials challenges, to address the structure challenges, construction challenges, rapid and precise on-site assembly, for example, using digital twins and MIC, stability challenges, this typhoon, and also ecological and environmental impact as well. So very quickly, I summarized the current status of UN SDG number 2, 7, and 11, and highlight the importance of collaborative research to address challenges. I used one example to illustrate the concept. I know there's a lot of young people listening today. I hope this will inspire you to work in this very exciting area and catch the wave. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Zhao, for your outstanding presentation. You said that the young people get excited, and all the guys and also get very excited to see this floating infrastructure. So I believe this will be very important for the UN SDG missions. So for people do have questions, please just type it in, and then we'll answer that at the end of the session. So our next presenter will be Professor Shengwei Wang, who is also a chair professor at the Building Environment and Energy Engineering here at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. And he has been with the PolyU for nearly 30 years. It's a very long time. And he's also the director of the PolyU Research Institute for Smarter Energy. And yeah, I think in his career, he also published 4 books and over 320 papers, very highly productive. So Professor Wang, please.
Thank you, Professor Chen. My presentation is collaborative research of smart energy technology and solutions for carbon neutrality. Before my presentation, I'd like to introduce a little bit of our research institute for smart energy. And this is a research institute under the peer academic led by Professor Chen. And this research institute is established as a cross-disciplinary research platform in PolyU for developing innovative energy technologies and sustainable and carbon neutral solutions. So we have 5 main focus research areas, including district energy systems and smart grid, smart buildings and smart energy systems, advanced energy storage technologies, advanced and renewable energy conversion technologies, and advanced energy materials. RISE actually involves about 55 professors and faculty members from 12 departments in the university. So you know, carbon neutral transformation of power generation is the key task for carbon neutrality. For instance, in Hong Kong, it is the buildings contribute to over 60% of carbon emission, and of which that is actually 93% of the electricity consumption is due to buildings. So overall emission of buildings in the mainland of China is also over 50%. So in such a case, what are the regular ways to carbon neutrality in power factors and the key problems? So the regular ways is, in one side, we increase energy efficiency, and therefore to reduce the energy demand in the demand side, and we increase the renewable energy generation at the supply and demand side. But in such a case, there is a problem, that is the mismatch between the supply and demand due to the strong intermediate nature of renewable generation. So the regular solutions, that is, we got to significantly increase the storage capacities for the power system balance. So that means grid investment and practical limitations. So those traditional storage investment, including pumped storage, battery storage, and green hydrogen, so that can be introduced in both in the demand side. Yes. And new and more cost-effective approaches, that is demand side efficiency and energy flexibility plus renewable generations at both supply and demand side. So that means new concepts of energy flexibility, energy flex buildings are introduced as a new concept, a new approach. So energy flexible or green interactive buildings or green grid responsive buildings are the same thing. And that refers to buildings which can reduce the power use without unacceptable compromise in service quality when the power grid is short of power supply, and store energy when there is surplus energy supply in the power systems. So then how to achieve carbon neutrality, neutral power generation in high density cities? So in fact, achieving carbon neutrality within buildings or cities is not practical nor cost effective for high density cities. Then carbon neutrality has to be achieved by adapting renewable resources beyond buildings or even beyond cities. So in such a case, what are the roles and the contributions of building in high density cities? So actually, that is the energy efficiency to reduce the demand, to reduce the energy demand, and the energy flexibility to enhance the power system balance for increased renewable penetration. So the development and applications of life cycle optimization technologies for smart and energy efficient buildings. So what we have done in our research group. So in one side, we develop technologies for energy efficiency for smart buildings to reduce the demand in the demand side. Another way is we develop energy flexible building technologies to support the power system balance for the power system, power grids to adopt more renewable generations. First, we talk about the energy efficiency, the technologies first. So we developed a system approach and together with technologies for energy and green buildings. So that including we call it life cycle optimization technologies. In the design stage, we make the design profile and optimize the design and selections of building energy systems. And in the construction stage, we ensure the proper construction and we optimize the on-site adaptive commissioning of the energy systems. In the operation stage, we have proper commissioning and diagnostic technologies to ensure the system operate as well as intended. And we also optimize the operation and control of the energy systems to further reduce energy consumption. So we developed various application technologies and tools. And there are three categories. One is the virtual test platforms. So today we normally talk about digital twin. And to test the performance of energy system design and to test the control strategies developed for the application stage. And we developed energy diagnostic tools. And we also developed optimization tools, including building energy system design optimization tools and including the optimal control strategies. And those tools and strategies are implemented in many new and existing building projects. Here are some examples of optimal design and optimal control applications. For instance, in the tallest building in Hong Kong, that is the International Commerce Center, we implemented the optimal design and we implemented the optimal control strategies there and achieved annual energy saving of above 10 million kilowatt hour per year. So this is about 18% of energy saving there. And in another building, that is the Holiday Inn Express. So in this building, we actually received a saving of over 25%. And in another industrial building, and we optimized the control strategies of the clean room air conditioning systems, achieved the energy saving of about 40% for the air conditioning rooms. And we have another various applications. I'm not going to tell the details. And we also continue to develop next generation key technologies for smart buildings. For instance, we have a collaborative research fund under the support of the Hong Kong UGC, RGC. So, so these next generation technologies we are developing for building automation and smart buildings, including distributed process and optimal control based on AI and IoT. And building big data analytics for building system diagnosis and optimization. And the fifth generation of building automation platform technologies and smart sensing based on IoT. So the approach, the contents is we adopt develop distributed intelligence for real-time optimal control. And we develop effective building big data analytic technologies for building system diagnosis. So therefore, we include the development, including fundamental understanding on the energy systems, platform technologies based on AI and IoT, and we have fundamental technologies for distributed real-time optimization and big data analytics for health monitoring diagnosis. In the application technology, we have health monitoring diagnosis technologies and real-time control optimization technologies. And the second part, as I said, in the today's building, particularly future buildings, our building will not be just energy efficient, but we also our building need to be energy flexible to allow to help the power balance or power grid and to support to enable the power system to adopt more renewable generations. So then we, in the last 5-10 years, we spent a lot of efforts in the development of energy flexible building technologies, which aiming to enabling power grid energy balance and a higher renewable penetration, allowing the power system towards carbon neutrality. So what are the grid power balance needs and the different tempo scales and the potential contributions of building flexibility? Actually, the power balance needs are in different time scales from seconds, minutes to hours and days, and even to months. But for buildings, we can provide the balance support from very fast response, such as seconds, to the middle term time scales, such as days, is rather difficult for buildings to provide monthly balance needs because the capacity of storage of buildings is limited. But you know, for the contribution of building to support the power balance, the important benefits is that we can provide the flexibility to help the power grid balance with very low cost or even sometimes without noticeable cost or investment. I give you a summary of the research and development on energy efficient buildings or district technologies. So what we do, including building energy enhancement methods and optimization for new and existing buildings or districts, develop smart building grid interactive and demand response control strategies or technologies, particularly for complex energy systems in large buildings on the electricity market with different or multiple flexibility services or programs. We try to support the development. We also support the development of energy policy and the electricity market or pricing for effective demand-side engagement for power system cost-effective transformation towards carbon neutrality. Here I give you a very few examples to show what the buildings can contribute to power grid. For instance, we developed the smart control of HV systems of enhanced building environment performance for providing frequency regulation services to smart grid. You know, frequency regulation service of the power grid is need a very quick response. It's a rather costly service for the power system. But actually, if we control our system, our HV system, to provide this service, we can actually provide this service with very low cost, right? So that is a rather cost-effective solution, but we need to have a good control of building HVAC systems. So what we developed is that we introduce a regulation on top of our regular HV system control based on the needs of power grid. So this change of regulation is in terms of seconds. So we can change our control pattern and to allow to support the frequency regulation service. But in this time, our environment control in buildings is affected. To reduce the impact of this frequency regulation control on the environmental control in buildings, we developed a disturbance compensation control strategies that reduce the frequency regulation of buildings to the impact to the environment control buildings. So this is another example that we developed for HV systems to have the fast response to smart grid. So this is some examples. I think I am not going to show the details to you. So at the last, we are applying these energy flexible building technologies in the newly developed mega buildings in the fast train station in Kowloon. So that is what we are doing in cooperation with the major developer. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Professor Wang, for your very informative presentation. Especially, I very much appreciate so many fine examples you have used. I think the energy is very important topic in this conference. You have provided very good solutions for the city of Hong Kong and beyond. Now, our next presenter will be Professor Yongping Zheng, who is the founding director of the Research Institute for Smart Aging and also the Jockey Club Smart Aging Hub, and also the founding head of the Department of Biomedical Engineering here at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. He has published, again, nearly 300 journal papers and a lot of patents. and he's done a great job. So, Professor Zheng, I would like to you take the podium and make your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Chen. And my topic is related to aging. And I think all of us know this is a big challenge globally. So from the social point of view, how university can help in this area, I just want to briefly introduce. And I wish all the audience will get something from us. So we know that the definition of elderly people is when age reach 65. Okay, so this is a global definition. We know once we think old, okay, all these kind of terms, but actually things are changing a lot, and many countries, many organizations extending the retirement age, and now the life expectancy is become longer and longer. And at this moment, Hong Kong is the have highest long aging life expectancy among all the regions and countries in the world. Okay, and very soon that will further increase. So the idea for our smart aging idea is try to make all these terms becomes more positive, and so that we can live happily, actively, as well as healthily. And as our life expectancy further increase, so we will continue to be in that status. So, but certainly that is not easy because we are biological bodies. So we have a lot of problems, okay, as we age. So this is mainly my contents I want to cover. So first, let's look into this challenge with the aging. So just gives you some number if you have not been aware of this. Okay, very soon we have globally over 1/5 of population will be beyond 60. Okay, so for those beyond 80, and also very soon we have a very large numbers. So all this will put an individual and societal family challenges. Okay, how to tackle that. So again, you can see this is different places and time going, and this is about at that time moment. And again, in many places, almost double or even more. We are talking about people with age above 80s. So we can imagine all this will trigger many social as well as family challenges, okay, for the carers, for the society, for the government spending, all kind of things. So here, listing the healthcare, and remember, very soon, more and more healthcare expanding will go to aged population. So here, again, you can see continuous increase. So this definitely is not, in some way, not sustainable. So if we do not have a good approach, okay. So in PolyU, we try to tackle this, okay, in many different ways. And I just skip this. So in the institutional level, PolyU has established this network and try to connect people in this area who are actually devoted in this place. And we more focus on the aging area. So this is WHO has set a center with our School of Nursing. So this is a collaborative center for community health services. One of the major goals is actually aging. And they have many different activities in this area. And since we are trained nurses, so this is actually a very important areas, but not only our own nurses, but nurses in general for support. And PolyU established a research institute for smart aging, also try to help in this area. And we have all different kind of activities. Later on, we'll give you a little bit more details. And we hope, as earlier other colleagues mentioned, that using interdisciplinary approach, okay, and try to tackle this increasingly important and challenging topic regarding aging populations. So how interdisciplinary it can be for aging. And this is our PolyU's over 30 academic units across 6 faculties and 3 independent schools. And our agent research actually connected with all these different departments and faculties. So you can see majority of faculties have been and departments has involved in aging. But this is true because aging is such a wide topic and need such a broad disciplinary approach. And these are our members of the Research Institute of Smart Aging. So apparently you can see there's a very large number. But with all these experts, okay, in a single research institute, so we are very happy and proud because we can tackle different problems in a more interdisciplinary way. And this is also the mission of our pair, this setting. So mainly we are focusing on this 5 area. So health definitely is one issue for aging. Another one is in the society level and also the intelligence level. This is particularly important for all the brain-related issues, no matter communication, no matter thinking or other brain-related things. And the environment is also becoming more important as we getting aged. And particularly, there's more and more aged people in the society. So general technology, we think and we believe that is one of the approach to help to tackle the issue as time going. Okay, so we try to use all kind of technology to help in these areas. And we established several approaches. Okay, one of them is try to link different colleagues in different departments and different disciplines, and with some common missions. Okay, so they may want to solve some problem, no matter the health, no matter societal, no matter other types of related questions. But we would also like to leverage those things, those areas developing very fast. For example, data analytics, and also devices, sensors, and IT technologies, and try to solve some important challenge and questions. And we define they must be cross-disciplinary, data-driven, and this is some of them are very obvious. And more importantly, we want to group all these expertise and strengths together to tackle some we call the grand challenges, like dementia, no matter it is early diagnosis, how can we control that and or delay that? Okay, so stroke, again, can we prevent it or reduce the rate of happening or early screening? And after stroke, how about the rehabilitation? Can we recover more functions for those survivors? And is another big problem among the elderly. So as well as some other topics. So we joined our forces together to bid for bigger grants and ultimately to achieve high impacts in this area. Certainly, we are not only limited our collaboration within the campus, and we'll also collaborate with other partners, no matter locally in Hong Kong, in China, as well as globally. So this is our ideas. And these are some health problem or other challenges that our colleagues are focusing in WISA. But again, previously they may work alone, but with this platform, we hope that we can have more collaborations. Jockey Club Smart Aging Hub is one of the settings and try to do promotion of technology, education, connection, as well as make all these impacts, okay, in this area, try to serve people. I just want to give you some examples. So these are some activities that we organize, and there are some numbers I can show you. So this is the center in our university, and we even have a library for the general technology items, not only invented by us, but also we will purchase or borrow from company as like as a corner, as a center, so all people will come here to interact. And we also invite experts in different areas to give webinars, seminars, and all kind of training activities. And this is all kind of activities that in the real life hospital. Basically, we install these technologies in the real hospital, the non-government organizations taking care of different kind of elderly people. And the most important thing is not only we support the NGOs taking care of elderly, but we collaborate with them, open the area so that the public and or the professionals can go there to visit how the technology is being used. Because sometimes we found there's a big gap in the technology provider and the technology users. So the users always want to have more, but they may not have all the information. Similar, the technology side, there's a lot of startups and the companies having device or researchers doing related research, but they do not know what exactly the real situation it is. So our Jockey Club Smart Aging Hub has been playing such a role. And one important thing, as I earlier mentioned, that 65 is older and the 60 need to be retired. But actually we found that through this several years operation, we have successfully recruited quite a large number. I think it's over 300 smart, we call it smart ambassador. So those are retired people. Yesterday I just checked with my colleagues. The average actually, the age of these ambassadors is actually around 70. But many of them are very smart and can even do the demo and the presentation for new technology better than our undergraduate student assistant. Okay? We recruit both student assistants and also smart ambassador. So from there, we also noticed that how to encourage or facilitate elderly people to do something. I think this is very, very meaningful, not only to the society, but actually to the elderly's life and also life quality, their health as well. So this is something what we learn. And now we are doing much more than the campus and the NGO activities, because as the aging population grows rapidly, many sectors are realized, no matter government and other organizations. So this is why we have all these tools and the knowledge and expertise experts. So we actually move out to all these different areas and different through collaborations. So this is what we are doing. And in PolyU, we also have another Jockey Club supported setting is Jockey Club Design Institute for Social Innovations. So they have done a lot of aging-related activities, and one topic is called double aging. So this may be particularly in Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is not only population aging, but also the building aging. So if you have a chance to visit Hong Kong, you will see that on one side, we have those modern sky racer, okay, very high buildings, looks very nice. But meanwhile, there's a lot of very old buildings, okay? So this is a challenge, okay, particularly to aging, elderly people. So one topic actually we are focusing is the dementia. So as a global challenge, so therefore we have something you can see, this is aging challenge again. And again, this is the working population versus the elderly population. Okay, so you can see our become not only elderly people become more and more challenging, but also the younger generations, because you need to support in ratio more elderly. So these are all growing, and so we just want to hope you use technology to help. So in this area, we have two technologies. Actually, this is what we are talking about, those people, and these are all activities related to dementia that we are doing. And one thing we are doing is to the night monitoring, not only for elderly people, but for carer as well. So reduce their burden to surveying. Okay, so we will use technology to check whether the elderly people are safe on the bed. And we also have another project is smart doors. And this door actually can have the sound, can interact with people. So therefore, for dementia caring, there's a lot of research think that it is useful. And we have different kind of versions. You can see this is a pair of those. Again, it can have sound. The inside is a lot of sensor built in so that we can interact with elderly. So I just stop here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Professor Zheng, for managing your time. You have really proposed a very good solution for the aging problem, ranging from the fundamental research, diagnosis, and then the final curement. I think this is wonderful. So now I would like to introduce our last speaker, but not the least, is Professor Zhang. Professor Shi is a chair professor and also the director of the Otto Poon Charitable Foundation Smart Cities Research Institute here at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. And he is also an academician of the International Eurasian Academy of Sciences and the fellow of the Academy of Social Sciences in the United Kingdom. So he has done a lot of research on the smart cities, proposed a very nice concept on the smart cities, published over 300 articles. So without overdue, I would like to pass the podium to Professor Zhang, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Chen. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction. May I share our work in the Smart City Research Institute here at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Today, I would like to share you particular research in our Smart City Research Institute, which is a spatial temporal prediction of a COVID onset risks to support epidemic prevention and control. So, today we are facing the challenge of COVID. So it's now seems clear that even with our better efforts, the virus will not disappear globally, or at least not in the near future. So we're still facing the COVID. In regarding to this issue, that we did quite some work in the past 3 years on the spatial on related to the COVID-19 risk prediction. So you will see in the past 2 years, now it's getting better. We have no, we didn't have much tourists. We have a great socioeconomic economic cost of control the COVID, and also the optimized medical resources allocation even today, and a strength protection for specific groups like kids. So spatial temporal COVID prediction to support more precise epidemic control is very important. Because say, for example, if in Hong Kong, we have a particular area that we think that's a very serious spread of COVID, then we just control in that area, and other part of the city shall maintain the normal quality. So in that case, we do two things together. One is to reduce the cost due to the COVID. Number two is to get back to the normal for the economic. So one thing we did is the prediction COVID simulated onset risk. So simulated onset risk is normally 4 to 5 days before it's confirmed or report. Nowadays for Omicron, this period shorter to 3 days or even less. So if we can predict the COVID spread in a city or in a country in the early stage, so 4 or 5 days or 3 days before it's finally confirmed. So it's a lot of help for prevention and control the COVID. So the one method we developed is called extended weighted kernel density estimation method, as a EWKD method. Oh, I hear some noise. Okay. So that's the research. So advanced prediction of the development trend of the epidemic 4 to 5 days earlier. So so this is the EWKD model. So prediction accuracy is about 0.8 if we have better mobility data and confirm the cases at a different location from time period. Then we have a better quality of estimation accuracy. So for instance, this is the level of onset of risk level for the city of Hong Kong. Then we divided for city of Hong Kong into 291 areas or regions. We call the TPU, tertiary planning unit. Each of those polygon is a unit. Then we predict for each of the unit is in a high level of risk or middle, lower, or lower. So that's our prediction. That's the confirmed case later on in the early time. So most of the cases actually happening in our predicted high risk area. So this is the prediction for our future 1 to 7 days. It's about 7 days. Is we can do the prediction, and the closer to the date, the higher the accuracy we can predict. So we did that for the whole country of China and other countries and Hong Kong. So this is in the city level or province level, and this is in the community much detailed level in Hong Kong. So for example, this is the prediction we did from beginning of 2000 January, 2020 January. And then it's January 30th and the city lockdown of Wuhan. Then we compare what we predicted and this is really lockdown cases and do the simulation of prediction we did, if not lockdown. So the effect of lockdown Wuhan is the peak of the high risk deferred to 1 to 2 days. And this closed down city is particularly very important to reduce those cities or regions with medium risk. So it's paper published in Communication Biology. So another work is this wave of COVID. It's first identified in South Africa, in particular the Gauteng province. So we studied based on our model then how that's the COVID Omicron would spread in the whole country. So our finding is, our prediction is not immediately spread to the neighbor province, rather to 2 provinces which have more frankly mobility connections between Gauteng and that province and Gauteng and that province. So that's our findings, how the COVID spread in the whole country. So this is this finding. This is our finding. Say through the time, how the risk be increased. So if based on our the measure we recommend, this is the highest level of prevention or control in the Gauteng province, and other province just maintain level 1. So it's a rather relaxed control. So the whole country will have a lower increase of the risk. If nothing to do, then that's curve. So the increase of the risk is very high for the whole country. So we present this work to the WHO, in particular the representative from China. And so the response to our work is very good. And the WHO states, this is an important contribution to our understanding. That means how COVID, in particular Omicron, transmit spatial temporally among a country. And having access to your findings is much appreciated. And the work already being made available to our regional office. So that's regional office. It covers 34 countries in that region, including China. So it's a very high population in the world. And we also did that prediction for Taiwan and also to other areas. So that's our system. the system. Say for example, here, then we just click here, and then let's give the prediction of 24th September, and next day, and the day after. So that's how the risk being distributed. It's a high risk area, it's medium high, and it's lower, etc. So, say for example, that's how our system works for Hong Kong, and do the prediction of symptom onset risk for the whole city. So that's work also data for other cities in that Greater Bay Area. So that's include 11 cities, include Hong Kong, Macau, and Shenzhen, and those larger cities. And this is the case for Zhuhai City. And actually, we made that data available, and to provide our estimation to local government in Hong Kong. Say for example, this is the prediction for the risk for the whole city, those regions with high risk and the lower. And the dots, say for example, those green dots is ADA school, and the blue dots is international school. So we predict in the Hong Kong DSE examination, this is the date for college, high school student to conduct the examination for entering university. So this is a very big, important day. So for that day, that we help to predict for each single high school, which is located inside a high risk area, or the medium high or lower. So then based on that, so we provide that result to the Education Bureau of the Hong Kong, and to provide that information through them to each of the high school. So that can help, that could did the work to help local prevention of COVID in education. So we also, Hong Kong, have a logistic companies in GB area, not Hong Kong, it's for GB area. It's 9 cities here, with a 1.8 trillion US dollar volume. Next to neighbor area regions like Taiwan, Japan, Malaysia, Vietnam, and then so on and so forth. Then we predict the COVID risk for each of those countries or the Taiwan area. So that information can help those companies when they need to ship those logistics and to those regions and other countries, and they know what's the COVID situation in the destination. So measures for prevent being transmitted can be recommended for those particularly high risk region. So this is the work, one of the work we did develop for our smart cities, urban informatics. This is a backbone science and technology to support the smart city development. So without fundamental science and technology support, I think a smart city will not be developed for longer term. So that's why we focus on the fundamental science and technology, which we regard as we call that name urban informatics. So urban informatics covers urban sensing, urban big data infrastructure, urban computing, urban science, and urban systems. So based on that understanding, then we added a book, Urban Informatics. So this is the first book systematically introduced the theory, technology, and applications of urban informatics. So till today is about 1.5 years. The book has over 1 million access of book chapter downloads. This is also the record making for the Springer. That's book being published by Springer. And so if you just scan that QR code, you can get that book for free. So this book is widely used for not only engineer, but used as reference and textbook for many universities worldwide, include the MIT. So last year, MIT colleagues wrote me an email, and they plan to choose this book as their reference book for their new program, which is computer science and urban science. And then we also organize conference series, because international conference series on urban informatics. Last year should be the third one, but unfortunately we cannot organize the conference. Instead, we organize a webinar. It's also good. We had 175,000 viewers just within 2 hours or so. So it can indicate that that's a very important area, attract attentions worldwide. And we also come with journal and to publish the work on urban informatics. So we have a very strong, I think, the editorial board team, and form international society on urban informatics. And we organize the research interest worldwide through urban informatics science, urban systems, and urban sensing and positioning, and urban big data infrastructure and analytics. And also actually in education is very important. So we believe the urban informatics for supporting smart city is well needed. So we form PhD, master, and bachelor degree at PolyU. And you will find also the similar program in other part of the world. Say, for example, our bachelor degree in urban informatics and smart city attract something like 20 applicants for one position in our university. So this is one of the most popular program in the university. So that's a very important area we're developing. With that, I conclude my presentation, and I thank you very much for your attention, Chairman.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Professor Shi. I think you have present this urban informatics, which seems very powerful. That's really good for managing the cities. Now, I believe it's time for the discussion. So I just wonder if the audience has any questions. If you do, you might raise your hands. I don't know if there's a possibility to do so. Otherwise, you can also type in. Yeah, I think that's actually a question for John. The achievement of the collaborative research sounds encouraging. Is this kind of practice currently popular and applicable across various fields of industry? John? John, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but John seems to be no response.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I think my network is not stable. Now I'm back. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
So please go ahead and answer that.
So excuse me, what was the question?
Okay, the question is the achievement of the collaborative research sounds encouraging. Is this kind of practice currently popular and applicable across various fields of industry?
Thank you. So the collaborations means both international, academic-wide. We collaborate with different universities. For example, for the book, it's well, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Oh, what's wrong here?
It's very clear.
Yeah, it's just keep talking. I think we can all hear you. But I think his connection seems not very good. I see like his screen is frozen.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, sorry. The network now is get back. Okay, our university, network Okay, I take an example. For example, the book of urban informatics, and this is we in collaborating with many universities in the world. Actually, there are 40 teams in the world, include those from MIT, from Cambridge, ETH, UCL, and you name. So I think this is really important. We put together and collaborate with leading university in the world. Then, we come with a high quality work. So that's very important. Collaboration internationally. And the second is also smart city. It's very applied work. Really you need to apply the smart environment, living, and mobility, and it's really solving problem. So we're one of our area is to link with local industry and to apply our work to local industry. We are doing that kind of work now. I think that's important and one important way for our to go. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? Yeah, because we start a little bit late, and then there's another session just immediately following us. So we really are running out of time. So probably we cannot wait for too long. So let's maybe we can answer one more question. Okay, this is for all of you. Can you share how would it be possible for universities to promote collaborative research, especially for impact research? Any one of you like to answer it?
Can I say first? Maybe I probably leave earlier because another meeting.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great topic because according to our aging-related areas experiences, so the collaboration is really needed, not only academically, because if we want to create impact, collaborating with the industry or the service sector is super important, because for some development we started and later on we found that, actually the users may not think that way. So, but later on we try to start earlier of the collaboration with the end users. So discussing, no matter our E9 log and smart door, actually we have a lot of discussion before we start. So from our own experiences and this kind of collaboration, the intersector collaboration is really important, particularly for ultimate industrial impacts or societal impact. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you, Professor Zheng. Yeah, I completely agree with you, because when you do this collaborative research, you will always get extra information from others, and then you get their help from different disciplines. This is great. So I believe, according to the timers there, we are running out of the time. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the speakers for your wonderful presentations. And I also like to thank all the audience for your contribution to this collaborative research to address global challenges session, which is sponsored by the PolyU Academy for Interdisciplinary Research, or PAIR. So I think we have achieved our goal. So the session is adjourned. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in another occasion.